Would you say that you have a high self-esteem, or do you require a little bit of work in that area? What would you say on a scale of 1 to 10? Are you closer to a 10 or closer to a 1? Let's talk about that. I'm Cindy Caldwell, the Happiness Queen, and you can find me at elegantinnerguidance.com. We just entered the month of September, and the theme for our month is going to be self-esteem, self-worth, and self-love, because all three are so intricately intertwined that we're going to try to weave them all into the conversation this month. And I'm going to define each of them in just a moment, but what my hope is and what the purpose is this month is not simply to talk about what they are, and we'll do a little bit of that, but I want to give you examples of how it plays out in your individual life. What is it that you're doing or not doing, or could be doing, or could do better, that is indicative that you have a solid self-esteem, self-worth, and self-love. So we're going to talk about that. But right now, as we enter the month and begin the theme, I simply want to start out to give us a definition of each. So what is self-esteem, self-worth, and self-love? Self-esteem, it's simply an intricately woven fabric of your thoughts, your feelings, your behaviors, and your actions that indicate to you and to the outer world that you either have a solid self-esteem or you require some work in that area. And to complement that is our self-worth. And our worth is simply that personal regard that we have for ourselves. How worthy do we feel that we are? And then self-love. What is self-love? I always used to be confused with that. Luckily enough, I had a mom who, when I was real little and growing up, used to make comments about loving oneself. And as a child, I just didn't understand that. It actually took me the longest time into adulthood before I really got it. It seems so self-centered, maybe a little bit arrogant and self-absorbed, but in fact, it's none of those things. It simply regards the love that you have toward yourself. We're going to talk more about that. Self-esteem, self-worth, and self-love. Stick around. You'll learn what you're doing, or maybe what you're not doing, to build yours. I'm Cindy Caldwell, the Happiness Queen. Check us out at elegantinnerguidance.com. Thanks so much for stopping by.